us taking way less than we inherently deserve. And we are taking that of a scrap, but it feels so heavy to us because it starts to validate this belief that we're not deserving, that we're not enough, and that we're not good enough or lovable or what have you for whoever we're trying to get that love, affection, status, whatever from.
Imagine growing up and the only thing that you ever ate were leftover McDonald's, right? Not even like the fresh stuff. Like at the end of the day, when they had to throw out the scraps, that's all you know, and that's all you've ever eaten. That's all you're going to know. You're not even going to know anything differently. Hey, everybody, it's Bianca.
And it's Emilia.
Welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we are helping growth minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. We hope you enjoyed the last episode, number 293, Motivation Monday. 3 things we learned in our 20s. For
Mm.
today, 294, how to stop accepting breadcrumbs from others. I alluded to the fact that we were going to be doing this episode in episode 292, Do You Fear Abandonment? And these episodes really, really go hand in hand. So, what we talked about in that episode, actually, number one, if you haven't listened to that one yet, pause this, go listen to that one first. What we talked about is the fact that usually an anxious attachment or an avoidant attachment is the root of the fear of abandonment.
Mhm.
And more so than that, the fear of abandonment isn't that you're broken. It's just that there's a lot of fears that need to be worked through.
Right.
Now, how does that relate to accepting breadcrumbs? If you are someone like me who sincerely believed that you are not worthy or deserving of love, that love was never going to come to you, that people are never going to fight for you, that nobody is ever going to want you because there's something wrong with you, there's a high probability and a very high chance that you are going to accept the bare ass minimum from everybody
Mhm.
because you believe that that is all you are worthy and deserving of having. I can't even tell you guys. I am. You and I have talked
I
about
know
this so
you,
many
girl.
times.
Mhm.
Again, this episode makes me want to throw up. The 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 BS that I have accepted from people because
Yeah.
I just so badly wanted somebody there was insane. I remember I was dating this girl and she like was a big name in her own right and she had a lot of significance and a huge social media following and I was like, "Oh my god, this girl wants me and blah 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 blah." And she chose me and it fed into my need to like feel significant.
Yeah.
I think I maybe saw we dated for a year, never introduced me to anybody in her life.
Mm.
Saw me for 1 hour once a month when she would finally make the time to come over
Mm.
and just hang out with me for like a half hour to an hour and then would leave. And horrible communication,
Mm.
literally didn't want anyone knowing that we were together. It was a whole thing. But it fed my need to have somebody. So it
Yeah.
was like, "Well, this is okay. No, 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 this is enough. I don't need more than this." And instead of confronting her and understanding that, "Hey, this isn't enough for me. Like
Yeah.
I don't deserve the scraps that you're willing or able to give at this moment. I deserve more than this."
Mhm.
I didn't actually believe any of those things. I'm just like, "Oh my god, somebody's giving me attention, accept whatever."
Yeah.
Because having somebody was more significant and more worth accepting less than I actually wanted, needed, and deserved.
Yeah. So many of us go through a journey of this where we don't recognize that we are the collectors of breadcrumbs. It's like I feel like there's like an old folklore that talks about just like this. I can't call it to memory right now, but if you know what this is, please feel free to tag this episode and let us know, like one of our dear listeners did with Harry Potter in one of our last episodes that we recorded.
Oh my god, that was
The
so funny.
Fluffy, I think it was Fluffy, the three-headed dog. Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to you, Miss Alicia. Um, Okay, so with that, we become the collector of breadcrumbs. And before we know it, those breadcrumbs start to like feel like rocks. And they feel like rocks. And what the metaphor here is, it starts to weigh us down because what it's a culmination of is us, to exactly what you said, Bianca, us taking way less than we inherently deserve. And we are taking that of a scrap, but it feels so heavy to us because it starts to validate this belief that we're not deserving, that we're not enough, and that we're not good enough or lovable or what have you for whoever we're trying to get that love, affection, status, whatever from. And so those rocks start, or those breadcrumbs turn to rocks. Those rocks turn to anchors for us. And the anchors in this metaphor is what pulls us down into this giant downward spiral that validates these limiting beliefs that we carry through life. And sometimes, more often than not, actually, not sometimes, more often than not, we never release ourselves from the chains of these. We just carry around these anchors of the fact that we've continuously accepted breadcrumbs from our parents, from our family, from our siblings, from our extended family, from our past relationships, from our colleagues, from XYZ, you name it, relationship. And then so much of our suffering comes as a result of that. And we never cultivate the self, that self energy that tells us, hey, these anchors are weighing us down and we're not being as much as we could in our life because we're tolerating this treatment, because we're accepting scraps, because we're not working on these core beliefs.
Hey everybody, my name is Matt. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications at a radio station here in central Massachusetts. I've been a part of the Evolve team for about a year now, and I can say it's been nothing but great. Kind of diving into myself and realizing that I need to step out of my comfort zone and build that confidence in my insecurities, but also maintaining who I am as a person. You know, this is a community that's not forcing anything upon you, that wants you to feel nothing but welcome, and it's just super genuine and super honest too, which I like. And again, just recognizing that you are your own person on your own journey, but everybody in the community is here with you. And, you know, we're all at different stages in life, and that's a very important thing to recognize. So Emilia, Bianca, and Derek especially have helped me get to the point where I'm able to kind of excel in my career and in my personal life.
I am infamous with my clients in using the dumbest metaphors you will ever hear in your life.
Same.
Um, if any of you are a client, you will know this. If any of you become a client, which I hope you do, you will learn. If you don't know, you're gonna
Now
know.
you
And
know.
I'm gonna give an example. Imagine growing up and the only thing that you ever ate were leftover McDonald's, right? Not even like the fresh stuff. Like at the end of the day, when they had to throw out the scraps, that's all you know, and that's all you've ever eaten. That's all you're going to know. You're not even going to know anything differently.
Mhm.
So imagine what happens when you're now in an environment where there's five-star gourmet meals everywhere. And all you got to do is just walk over to those restaurants, open the menu, and order the food.
Mhm.
Because all you've ever eaten are those old McDonald's scraps, you're not going to believe that you're willing, that you're able or capable or deserving of those meals, even though they're all around you. This is exactly what happens when we've done or when all we've accepted are breadcrumbs. We start to believe that this is all that's possible for me.
Yeah.
This is all I'm ever going to be able to have. This is all that's ever going to be allowed for me.
Mhm.
Wayne Dyer uses an example. He said going to the ocean and using a teardrop, like a dripper to try to pick up water, as
Yeah.
opposed to going to the ocean and grabbing a Mack truck.
Mhm.
We stop accepting breadcrumbs when we start to realize that we're deserving of so much more. And that takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of work and it takes working through the anxious or avoidant attachment that we have and really seeing ourselves for the truth of who we are and no longer accepting the fact that this is all I deserve because it's not true. But what
Mhm.
you believe you perpetuate and what you perpetuate becomes your life. And
Right.
that just keeps validating these beliefs over and over again. And it's why I'm single because I won't keep doing it. I won't keep allowing breadcrumbs and terrible behavior from partners. Like, I deserve so much more than that. And
Mhm.
I'm doing the work on me to ensure that I don't accept breadcrumbs and
Yeah.
that when the right person comes along, I'll be able to actually accept it and speak my truth and express my needs, just like Emilia did, just like
Mhm.
so many people who actually are in really loving and fulfilling relationships did. It comes with understanding that I deserve more than this, and I'm never going to get more than this if I keep just accepting this.
Mm. Yeah, so and that's one of the things I do, like, I do wanna make sure that we are sharing this from a place of, like, recognizing that we're talking about more of the internal world instead of external, and why I just put a kind of asterisk on this because I've had people of the past that they the deservency factor on their internal world is really, really high. And then they go into the external world, into their career, and say, well, because my deserving factor is super high, I deserve a raise. Even though they haven't been willing to work to equip themselves with more marketable, economically valuable skills. And so we're not talking about that in this episode. What we're talking about is really the intrinsic worth, the intrinsic deservency factor, and how to stop accepting that from others is where I know a lot of the suffering in the world comes. We have to recognize that we have a part in that. If we accept breadcrumbs, we are the ones that are accepting that. And I think that there's an element to this in closing this episode that is so important in recognition. We are the people that can lead ourselves in that inner world, in that journey, to stop accepting breadcrumbs of our own inner care, our own inner work, and go inwardly and really connect deeper into yourself and recognize that you are worth standing up for. You are worth honoring the boundaries. You are worth really seeing what you like, what you care about. I have one client in mind who didn't even know what he wanted or what his needs were because he was accepting breadcrumbs from his own inner critic that he wasn't deserving of wanting or needing anything, to use that I would say beautiful McDonald's scraps analogy. Be quirky, love it, fun. And there's so many people who don't even know what they want and don't even know what they need because there's a part of them that won't even allow that. They're accepting breadcrumbs internally. So how could they not accept breadcrumbs from the world and from the treatment of others? So we have a part to play in this, and that's where I'm going to end this episode with, as acknowledging that the part that we play in this story is so empowering, because when we recognize that we have the ability, and you might need a coach or a clinician or someone's help to help you see that, but we have a part, and a very meaningful part that we play in this whole journey, this growth journey of not accepting breadcrumbs from others, us included. So, final thoughts.
There's a thick piece of filet out there for you whenever you're ready to stop eating the scraps of McDonald's.
She's thick. All right. So,
She is
Bianca,
a thick.
episode suggestion. Oh, man. Final takeaway.
240. Oh, Jesus. Number 242. Are they a narcissist?
Oh,
Dun, dun.
man. My episode suggestion is 275, Motivation Monday: How to Stop Apologizing for Who You Are. If you are
It's a
someone
good.
that's finding yourself, yeah, it is. If you are someone who's finding yourself really recognizing that you actually don't believe what Bianca and I just said, that there's a thick, whatever, what did you say?
I said a thick piece of filet.
Filet, right? I'm pro not eating animals, but anyways, you do you. And if you're someone who is struggling to believe that there's a thick piece of filet in this analogy out there for you, and that's something that you don't even know that exists in this world because you've just been eating scraps. You've just been eating scraps. You've been experiencing scraps. You've been tolerating scraps, and you literally cannot imagine a world where that's not your only option. Bianca and I are here for you. Something that we do with clients is help them understand where those boundaries that we're overriding because of the conditioning that we have from our past experiences and how that interplays into your world so that you can feel way more in control, way more empowered, and way less accepting of the BS that might be at play here. So evolveventures.com will have all the information to our one-on-one client work with our You Do You programs, with our Out of the Mud events. If you haven't heard about them, they're incredible. And we would love for you to join us on that journey.
EvolveVenturesTech.com.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. Enjoy your week. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.